We are in Dublin this week for a piece of boxing history. For the first time ever, two reigning undisputed champions in the four-belt era will face off. A homecoming for the greatest female fighter of all time, Ireland's Katie Taylor, who hasn't boxed in her home country for 7 years and 3 months. Saturday night, she returns home. 14 world title defences over a long career, but tomorrow night, or Saturday night, she walks as challenger. Chantelle Cameron, the reigning undisputed champion at 140 pounds, defending her titles, and it is all live in Dublin on DAZN.
When you've reached the top,
the greatest female fighter of all time from Ireland, Katie Taylor.
you keep climbing. With the strength of our seas and the force of a hurricane, you represent this land.
Reigning pride of all of Ireland.
Your greatness was never in doubt.
Undisputed.
And now you prepare again for more history.
It's time to give Ireland a sporting event they will never forget.
And the toughest test of all.
This is my career and my legacy, and I'm coming to win.
As two legacies stand on the edge. Witness the homecoming. Taylor versus Cameron, May 20th, live only on DAZN.
Well, there she is, the Queen of Women's Boxing. We'll be hearing from her shortly at this afternoon's press conference, along with all the undercard fighters. How significant this, Darren, to come home. We thought it was going to be against Amanda Serrano in what would have been a terrific rematch, but now she walks as challenger with something even more at stake and some real jeopardy against Chantelle Cameron.
I think it's a bigger fight. I think it's a great fight. I cannot wait for it. I think it's probably the challenge that she needs. I think, you know, maybe going in there, walking first, the challenger, against the bigger woman, so much on the line in front of an adoring crowd. I cannot wait.
8 fights on the bill in total. All starts 5 o'clock on Saturday night, and I think the undercard fighters are at the desk. You can hear the hush behind us. Eddie Hearn is standing by. So without further ado, let's head down to the stage.
Well, good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to Dublin. I can't believe we're quite saying it ahead of what will be, I feel, one of the biggest moments in the history of Irish boxing. This Saturday, Katie Taylor, the undisputed lightweight world champion, will challenge Chantelle Cameron, the undisputed super lightweight world champion, to try and become a two-time, two-division world champion. The homecoming of one of Ireland's greatest ever athletes. The atmosphere at the Three Arena is going to be incredible. If you're lucky enough to have a ticket, congratulations. If not, you can watch the event live on DAZN around the world, part of a huge, huge schedule for fight fans. Before we go into the main event press conference, we have an unbelievable undercard. So many opportunities for young fighters, so many opportunities for legends of the sport, world championship fights as well. And of course, as we return to Dublin, a chance for some of Ireland's emerging talents to take their stand in the world of boxing and try and bring headline events to this city and country as well. We're going to start with a young man, Paddy Donovan, who Andy Lee has told me about for years and years and years. Has it all. Has the potential to headline his own shows in Ireland, and a tremendous fight against Sam O'Mason, who we saw challenge Dalton Smith for the British title not long ago in Sheffield. Sam, I'll start with you. Welcome. Fairly short notice for this fight. You were ready to fight as well. A great opportunity, and straight back in a big fight.
Yeah, straight back in. I was in camp anyway for a fight that I should have been in 2 weeks in Scotland. He pulled out, and then the same day we had this 3 days ago. I'm ready. So yeah, why not? Obviously,
Coming off the back of headlining that fight at Sheffield Arena. Great experience for you, and there was a big night as well. Plenty of experience now in your career fighting another great prospect in Paddy Donovan.
Yeah, definitely. You know me, I'm always up for a good fight. The one with Dalton, weight was an issue, and it just is what it is. It's boxing. This one, it's been a lot better, and I'm excited for it. I always love a good 50-50 fight, whether, you know, depending on how people see it, but I'm just looking forward to getting in there, putting on a great performance, and yeah, I'm looking forward to Saturday.
Paddy, I guess quite a lot of pressure on you on Saturday, the way you've been talked up by Andy Lee and members of the Irish media and Irish fight community as well. Didn't see any pressure from you yesterday. The only person that decided to do the public workout with their shirt off. I don't blame you, to be fair, looking like that, but this is a massive platform for you and a big moment for your career on Saturday.
Yeah, no, Eddie. Pressures for tyres. This is where I belong at the highest level, and I'm one of the best prospects in the world boxing. And when this show came to town, Eddie, I straight away got onto Andy Lee and I said, Andy, for my talent, this is where I want to be. This is where I get the chance to showcase my skill in front of the Irish fans. So yeah, I was scheduled to fight somebody else, but fair play to Samuel Mason, stepped in late notice. But yeah, he's going to get his ass whipped come Saturday night.
Obviously, we saw him fight Dalton Smith last time around, who is another fantastic prospect as well. And this is a real fight for you, the toughest of your career so far. Yeah,
so far, on paper, it seems to be the toughest fight. He brings a lot of experience. He's been in there with some good fighters, and he's been on some good matchroom undercards. So yeah, looking forward to the challenge, looking forward to getting out there in front of the Irish fans and just do what I do, you know. When he's in there with me, he'll realise that I'm the best opposition he's ever fought. And I just can't wait to get in there now and just do a number on him, I guess.
And finally, as a young Irish fighter, obviously prospects coming through, great amateur talent coming through from this country have been starved, of course, from fighting at home. A new dawn, a new era, hopefully many more to come, and it's going to really change the way Irish boxers progress in the pro ranks.
Yeah, Gary Cully touched on it in the last press conference about Ireland being starved of big boxing events. It's been 10 or 15 years ago since we had a big event in Ireland. So thank you, Eddie and Matchroom and Frank Smith and all the guys behind the team that came here to make this show happen in Ireland. And obviously thank Katie for bringing a homecoming to Ireland, giving us young fighters an opportunity to showcase our skill. And yeah, hopefully we can build a good team. We have Thomas McCarthy, Gary Cully, Thomas Carty, Keevan, some very good fighters. So yeah, there's a great stable of Irish fighters coming through, and this is where you want to be, on the biggest platform in the world. And thank you, Eddie, again for giving us the opportunity to showcase that Saturday night.
Well, thank you, Paddy. 3 female fights on the card. Of course, the undisputed World Championship at the top of the bill. A tremendous fight between the WBA World Champion Terry Harper and the former undisputed champion Cecilia Brackhouse as well. But also a very important fight for one of our top young female prospects and one of Ireland's talents as well in Kate Radomska. Kate, welcome. A big fight for you, huge opportunity to fight in Ireland as well on Saturday night and ready to go.
Yeah, as soon as Katie's homecoming show was announced, it was my big dream, to be honest. So thank you for giving me the opportunity. I'm under no illusion I'm an underdog here, but I'm here to win. I am here to win.
Obviously, for you, fighting at home, but a good young talent, fairly inexperienced in the pro ranks, Maisie, but a good talent as well, and going to be a tough night for both of you.
Yeah, Maisie's a class fighter, and I don't expect anything less than tough, competitive fights. But these are the kind of fights I always wanted, so here I am.
Maisie, always difficult for a young prospect to come to Ireland on a show of this magnitude and fight an Irish fighter with support, but you just wanted this straight away. As soon as this was mentioned on social media, you were on the case with Kevin and Tony and the team, and a massive fight for you, previously on Katie Taylor's card as well, now part of her homecoming in Ireland.
Yeah, I'm over the moon to be on such a big card, to box an Irish girl on an Irish card, under a Katie Taylor card again. It's massive, but I don't do no ducking and diving. I ain't here to pick and choose. I want to fight. Kate called me out. She wanted to fight me, and I'm fighting her. It's as simple as that. So we see what you're saying on Saturday night. Do you know what I mean?
4 rounds to 6 rounds, something that you wanted quite badly after the first 2 fights. Really going to suit you. We know you've got an all-action style, a great engine as well. But 6 rounds, and as those rounds go up, you feel it's going to suit you more and more.
Yeah, 100%. 4 rounds is so short. It's like 8 minutes of work. Yeah, I train for 6 rounds. I train with Kev and Tony down the gym all the time. Kev, he can be a bit of a sausage sometimes, you know what I mean? But he pushes me, he trains me to be the best me that I can be. And I know that these 6 rounders, these 8 rounders that I'm going to go into, yeah, that's what I'm going to take over, 100%. Well,
we look forward to a great fight between Maisie Rose Courtney and Kate Radomska on Saturday night. Everybody loves a heavyweight ding-dong. I love this one. And you know, although Paddy Donovan called him Thomas McCarty, which I quite like, Tommy, to be honest with you, I think, you know, we know this is a big opportunity for him. Ireland's really been starved of heavyweights in the past, and now an undefeated young heavyweight who has a chance to make a name for himself on Saturday night. But his opponent, Jay McFarlane, who is one of the great characters, but also someone that's got himself in great shape. Anyone that turns up with Dr. Martens on and a skirt for a heavyweight title fight, as you know, ready to go. But Jay, here we go. Saturday night, you promised us you'd be in shape. You look in shape. You've had a real camp as well, and ready to fight.
Here we go, mate. That's it. Here we go again. I'm on the road again. On the road to paradise. That's what it is, mate. No, I'm so happy to be in Dublin. It's a city I love. The people are amazing every time I come here. It's hard to go back. The reception I got yesterday as well. I'm so excited. I can't thank you enough for the opportunity, Edward. I mean, it means a lot me being here. I can't wait to be on this card. Such a massive opportunity. You know, I've been on big stages before, but there's something special about this night here. Yeah, I'm so excited. I'm so excited.
You see, with heavyweight fighters, when they get thrown into fights, sometimes they're ill prepared, sometimes they're fighting above their level. But experience is everything, particularly in those weight classes as well. You've been through so much, fighting at cruiserweight, fighting at heavyweight as well, short notice fights. You know, I know you had the fight where you went the distance in Scotland as well. But it was a good fight where you were both exhausted, but you hung in there. And now you've got yourself in great shape for this fight. This is a massive opportunity for your career. You win on Saturday night, it really opens the doors for some huge fights domestically.
No, 100%, mate. The sky is the limit here, you know. And I finally believe that I deserve to be here, and that's why I'm taking it seriously. I'm not here to fuck around anymore. I'm not here to be the rock star that I was and out drinking before fights. It's not me. I've cleared the mind, you know. I've cleared my whole mindset. My whole ethos has changed on how I live my life. You know, the mind's a far better warrior than the sword, and it's took me 7 years as a professional athlete to realise that, but I'm here to do it. But as you said, domestic fights, there's big fights that could be made after this. I'll have a 2-fight deal once I beat Thomas anyway, but it doesn't really matter where I'm fighting. You know, I could be fighting here, we can fight there, there's a phone box outside. I can go down to Finglas and down to your back garden if you want, but
you wouldn't like it out of Finglas, buddy. I can guarantee you that much. Oh, definitely not.
You throw me in with the rules, I come out leader of the pack, mate. I strive anywhere, all I need's a place to hang my hat. But guys, thank you for everybody taking the time to do the interviews with me and stuff. Thank you, Eddie, for the opportunity. My manager, Sam Kynock. My trainers, Jerry Higgins and Stephen McCranner. And yup, get it up. Andy O'Neill's there. But I am so excited to be here. I am elated. I cannot wait. Up the hoops. Let's go.
Thomas, we talked about this for a long time. You know, kept saying about when you returned home. Remember saying how close you lived to Croke Park, and you're in the 3 Arena on Saturday night. Just like the same with Paddy, just like the same with Gary. Must be an incredible moment for a young Irish fighter, unbeaten as well, like those two, to finally fight in Dublin on Saturday, and what will be the toughest fight of your career so far?
Yeah, absolutely. You know, I'm 5 fights in now, and it's about time I have a decent step up, and Jay's going to give me that test. First of all, I'd like to say Tommy Tanuga Moore, led this Aaron McCaid, Chris of Vilkins in 3 Arena, for all the Gelgors out there. And yeah, I'm delighted to be here. I'm blessed to be here on this card. I've called out for ever since this was spoken about, a homecoming for Katie. I've been calling out to be on the card, and we're finally here now, a couple of days out.
I know you've, again, same as Paddy, had to fight on the road. And that's difficult for an Irish fighter to do, but obviously as a heavyweight there's always going to be interest as well. But hopefully building these big cards now, an impressive performance will build to bigger shows here in Dublin and Ireland moving forward. Is that what you're after? You want to make a statement on Saturday night?
Absolutely. You know, I turned pro 2 years ago this week actually, and I haven't been out of the gym since. It's all been building towards this, and Saturday night you're going to see the best Thomas Carty so far.
Well, look forward to a great fight between Thomas Carty and Jay McFarlane on Saturday night. We go on to the main card. Again, so much talent here, and one particularly in Kevin Ajako, who back from injury and ready to explode on the world scene, was running so well, was going so well, was ranked in the governing bodies, ready to make that charge, came back with a hand operation at the end of last year, but gets the opportunity now to fight in Dublin on Saturday night as he looks to climb back up the world rankings and land huge fights in 2023. His opponent in Grant Dennis looks the part. We love that you're here to fight. We wanted a real fight for Kevin to come back to, and you're ready to go on Saturday night on this huge show.
Yeah, I'm here to mess up the party. As simple as that. I know Kevin well, he knows me well, we've shared rounds, but I'm here to mess up your party, and that's how I'm rolling, man. This is my show. That's how I see it, and that's how I got to look at this opponent, like and this opportunity. Take it with both hands, and I'm ready to go.
Obviously, you know how talented Kevin is. You've shared rounds as well, but also know that this is probably a better time to fight him now, perhaps, than it was maybe 6 months ago when he had all that momentum coming back from injury. He needs to impress as well, but sharing those rounds of sparring, you like your chances in this fight?
I like my chances, no matter what. You know what I'm saying? Whoever it's against, I like my chances. He knows I'm talented as well, so it's just it's going to be fireworks, man. Our stars will gel. They would be sick. So, yeah, man, I'm ready for Saturday.
When you have fighters like yourselves who have been in big fights but not quite reached their levels that you want to, but are always one win away from turning a career around, turning, you know, the money around, all those kind of things. This is it for you, right? This is the opportunity that changes all that. Man, you win this fight, you enter the world rankings, and everything changes. Massive paydays ahead.
Yeah, I've sunk my teeth into training hard. I've got 5 kids, man. I've got a lot of bills. So this means everything to me. Do you know what I'm saying? And this opportunity, this event, look at it. It's crazy. I'm up here on the main table, and it's a big thing for me.
Well, good luck to you on Saturday. Kevin, obviously a real fighter. This is what you wanted. You know, you wanted someone that meant something to, someone that's going to come to try and win on Saturday night. And coming back, I know you're so happy to be back, but there is pressure as well. Pressure to perform in front of your Irish fans as well. Pressure to make a statement and get back on track.
Like Paddy Donovan said, pressure pressure's for tires. There's no pressure on me. There's only pressure that I put on myself. It's amazing to be back in home soil fighting in Dublin, where I won many national titles. But yeah, listen, I've been out of the ring 10 months. You said there that might be the best time to get me. This is probably the worst time to get me. I'm starving for success. I'm starving to make a few quid again and be back in the ring. 7 months ago when I left the gym with Deck and Joe after pulling out of my last fight, I went the next day. I was straight in the gym training with one hand, and I've not left the gym since. You know what I mean? Put a bit of weight on, but other than that, I've been staying active. And listen, it's great to be back, but Saturday night you're going to see a new beast. I've got a new team with Joe and Deck. I've been training. I've been working hard. My hand's fixed. My last 2 fights, I fought with a snapped ligament and fracture, and I made it easy work. Do you know what I mean? So imagine me with 2 hands. But yeah, listen, I don't want an easy opponent for this. I respect Grant Dennis. I've shared around sparring with him. He knows what happens in them spars. Take your glasses off. Show me that right eye. The one that I fractured. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, bro. It's sparring, mate. Did you even wobble me from it though?
I didn't know.
No, you
did
didn't.
I fracture your eye?
And I spoke to you after, but I was like, look what happened. I blew my nose and it come out a little bit.
Well, but that's what I'm saying. You know what happened in them spars, and
yeah,
did you, whenever I signed with Matchroom,
the spars were 50-50 spars, and you know it. Bro.
I'll see Saturday night. We'll see Saturday night. But when
100% we will see Saturday night, bro. You know I'm coming for it, bro. You know me.
I know, and I'm prepared for
me personally, and you know I'm gonna come for it hard. So you know that.
I want you to.
You know I'm going to.
I'm prepared for the best Grant Dennis.
You're absolutely going to get the best Grant Dennis.
I signed with Matchroom in November of 21. I fought in December. I got a phone call off Grant Dennis saying, did Matchroom offer you to fight me? I said, I've not heard anything. He says, I've just got a phone call. I said, are you taking the fight? And he said, no. This is his last opportunity, and he knows what's going to happen Saturday night. He knows.
I age backwards, and you know that, bro.
Okay.
You know that, man.
Listen, I'm prepared for...
I'm Benjamin Button out here, bro. Okay. You are crazy. Trust me, you know it. I'm Jamaican, bro. We age backwards, bro, and you know that.
Listen, I know black don't crack.
You know exactly, bro.
I know it.
Exactly.
But listen, it's going to be an entertaining fight Saturday night, and whenever I come out to my song, the ring walk, my fans cheer me on, and... Do you know what I mean? He's going to know he's in a real fight. And he knows it anyway. And I know I'm in a fight. Do you know what I mean? It's going to be a great fight. Our styles will gel. But I'm back to make a statement. I'm here to steal the show. I feel like I've become the forgotten fighter of the 154, 160 because I've been out of the ring for 10 months. But listen, I'm back. And like I said, I've been working with Joe and Dak very hard. And it's going to be a big night for me.
But normally I would phone you and say good luck, son. So I'm still going to say good luck to you, bro. Yeah?
Bless. I'll see you Saturday.
Yeah.
Kevin, just finally, we saw you yesterday at the workout. Yeah, we were joking outside about fighters who turn up and just go through the motions at workout. You were taking, nearly taking Deck's elbows and shoulders off their sockets. Is that the pent-up frustration? You're going in there with bad intentions on Saturday to make a statement?
Well, without doubt, Dex had to tell me, I didn't train yesterday. He's like, you're not training, sit down, stop moving. I've got so much frustration, good frustration, buzzing to be back, but I've got so much anger and frustration that I can't wait. I've never spent 10 months out of the ring. When I got stabbed, I was only out for 4 or 5 months. I was straight back in the ring. Do you know what I mean? So it's been a very, very long time, and I just can't wait to get back in there Saturday night, especially on a show like this. It's an honour to be a part of Katie Taylor's card again. It's unreal to be in Dublin. So, yeah, I've got frustration. Like you said, you see me looking good yesterday at the public workout, and I'm coming with bad intentions.
Well done, you two. I enjoyed that. Looking forward to the opener on the main card tomorrow. Jarko against Dennis, a great fight over 10 rounds, as is this fight. A tremendous fight, a tremendous story as well. The IBO World Super Lightweight Championship, a Super Welterweight Championship as well. I hope you boys are not going to make 10 stone 7 tomorrow. But this is a tremendous, tremendous fight. JJ Metcalf, who us at Matchroom are very, very fond of, because he got thrown in the deep end in a fight of the year against Ted Cheeseman in Gibraltar, came back, had another fight of the year against Kieran Conway in a fight that some people thought that he might have edged, came back and fought in Spain and came away with a huge victory against Leharaja in his hometown of Bilbao, then fought in Leeds, got the win, and now has an opportunity to put himself in a huge position to go and challenge the big names at 154 pounds. But his opponent, the champion, Dennis Hogan, coming off victory against Sam Eggington, and an unbelievable story, of course, the Irish Dennis Hogan as well. The first time in his professional career that he has fought in Ireland as well. He's had an unbelievable career, and you will see a firefight between these two on Saturday night. JJ, I'll start with you. Just probably bored now of talking about the turnaround in your career, but it has been an incredible rise coming off the back of those 2 defeats. Huge win for you in Bilbao, big win last time out. This fight's a little bit special.
It is. It's amazing to be on this stage, and, you know, the world titles, like, just something I've dreamed of since I was probably 11 years of age, my first amateur fight. So to get that opportunity, you know, I'm over the moon.
Obviously fighting an Irishman, but yourself, Kid Shamrock, your old man Shay Neary as well, like huge Irish roots as well, and a very special occasion. I know when this fight was announced, you and your team were on straight away saying it would be a dream to fight in Ireland.
Yeah, it's been a dream all my life, really. You know, my dad boxed here a couple of times. All my family are from here, so I've got a huge support coming. Loads travelling over as well, so, you know, I'm going to be right up for it on the night.
And the same that we see every time from you, the pressure in this fight, going to break this guy down. We know he's experienced, we know he's tough as well, but a lot of people talking about a great fight that we should witness on Saturday.
You know, we've got a game plan. I'm going to stick to the game plan. You know, it's going to be educated, but a fight that I'm going to win.
Dennis, welcome. You know, talking to you outside as well, the first time you've ever boxed in Ireland as a professional, quite unbelievable. And to come back now with your position and the fights you've had around the world, a special moment for you and your team and your family on Saturday night.
Yeah, look, it's been a long journey since October 2010. I had my last fight here, and I've gone off out to the world, and my dream was always to grab a title and come back and defend it. And now that gets to happen. You know, there's been a lot of sacrifice and everything, like all boxers make, but I believe this will be extra special now for my family, my friends, my team from Australia over here with me. You know, just for me to go out and just deliver the best performance I possibly can. This feels nearly as much for everyone else as it is for me.
You've had some huge fights all around the world as well, and been on a great run, great victory last time against Sam Eggington as well. A lot of people talking about this fight, should explode quite quickly as well. Good clash of styles. Expect a tough one on Saturday night.
Yeah, I sure do. Like I know Metcalf. Like he's in a position that I was in before, hungry to get my hands on a strap, and so I know where he's at, and I knew that coming into the camp, and I've put my head down and I've put in, you know, a monumental 4 months just to be ready for that. And I treated myself as a challenger for this in terms of how I've trained and what I've done, and much respect to Metcalf and his team to come into Ireland and do this and take this opportunity. But you know, for me, that belt has to come home with me, and I'm back to my daughters.
Well, thank you, Dennis Hogan, JJ Metcalf. Tremendous fight for the IBO Super Welterweight Championship of the World. A fight that could headline its own card, and so is this one. A tremendous female fight for the WBA 154-pound world title. Terry Harper, who we saw win world championships at super featherweight, up now at 154 pounds after a great win against Hannah Rankin, but this time taking on Cecilia Brackhouse, the First Lady, one of the trailblazers of women's boxing, the former undisputed welterweight champion of the world. Cecilia, welcome. Great to have you back after those 2 fights with Jessica McCaskill as well. Now up at 154 pounds, a chance to win another world title on a huge show in Dublin. You look ready to go.
Absolutely. I'm shaking off those 2 fights and a pretty rough time under the epidemic. And I'm very excited to fight against Terry Harper on Saturday. She's a big champion. She's extremely professional. And she is also extremely skilled in the sweet science of boxing. And that's what I really enjoy. I enjoy going into fight knowing that I'm going to be boxing and not brawling for 10 rounds. Of course, I can brawl too, but I think you're going to see some world-class boxing on Saturday, so I'm really looking forward to that.
How difficult was those defeats to McCaskill? You know, you've been on the winning side for so long. Now you look to really have the hunger back, and you come back now as challenger. Does that make a difference to the mindset? You have a chance to become world champion again on Saturday night.
Yeah, definitely. It's a new situation for me. Like I said, the 2 fights against Jessica under the epidemic, I shouldn't have been there, but that's, you know, water under the bridge. I'm back. I feel great. Training with Jonathan Banks again, which suits my style a little bit more. And I'm happy, and I'm back into falling in love with boxing. And I'm so excited that my first big fight is going to be against such a skilled boxer as Terry Harper.
A lot of people talking about the size in this fight. Of course, Terry Harper moved from 130 pounds, wanted to move up to 135 pounds. The opportunity come to fight for a world title at 154, but you are a career 147 and above as well. A lot of people feel like you have a size advantage in this fight. Is that something that you believe will play a part?
No, not really. Terry Harper actually been a super welter longer than I have.
And finally as well, the moment obviously for Katie Taylor. You've been here for a long time. You've been pushing women's boxing just like she has. Must be nice to see obviously yourself being part of a huge fight, but as well the attention, the focus on women's boxing just seems to be improving every year.
You know, I had my own homecoming. Professional boxing was banned in Norway since 1981. We fought 7 years to get rid of that ban, and when we finally got rid of it, you know, I headlined in the show. We sold out 10,000 tickets, and so I know what's driving Katie Taylor now. I know when I went out there in that arena that it wouldn't even matter who was in the ring with me. I would never lose. So I know what's driving Katie Taylor now, and I'm so happy for her. I'm so happy for Chantelle. I'm a big fan of both, and the hardest fight possible for this homecoming. So I'm definitely in awe of Katie Taylor and them both. So it's going to be so much fun on Saturday.
Thank you, Cecilia. Terry, welcome. It's been a long time coming, this one, hasn't it? I think you were supposed to fight. We talked about December, then it was February, and the wait has been worth it, not just for the fight itself, but the moment itself, the stage itself, and ready for the biggest fight of your career on Saturday night.
Yeah, definitely. Obviously, it can get frustrating at times, 5 days getting pushed back and stuff, but I see it now as I've had time to be in the gym and be working with Andrew, and just extra preparation for this fight. I'm in with a great fighter on Saturday night, someone who's got all the experience under her belt, and I'm just excited to get to work and share the ring with such a great athlete.
Yeah, how does that feel, you know, growing up, obviously watching Cecilia Brackhouse break down barriers and win world championships and become undisputed? Must feel quite surreal. I know you're there in your own right, you're a pound-for-pound top fighter as well, but fighting a real legend of the sport on Saturday.
Yeah, someone who I've looked up to for a while as well, and she's just done great things for not just female boxing, but boxing. Obviously, the boxing being banned in Norway and stuff like that, and like I say, I've just got full respect for Cecilia and taking the fight and giving me the opportunity on Saturday night to put on a great show for everyone.
And just one question on the size and the weight, which always comes up as well. I mean, probably now thinking that you're going to weigh 24 pounds more than you weighed when you held the world title at 130 is quite a scary thought. I'm not sure you could ever go back to those kind of numbers, but look strong, feel strong, and very happy in this weight class right now.
Yeah, it makes a huge difference. Usually these fight weeks I'm just looking forward to weighing in, but now I'm able to look forward to the fight and fully focus on the job that I've got to do and not just being weight focused.
Oh, thank you both. Tremendous fight. Terry Harper against Cecilia Brackhouse for the WBA Super Welterweight Championship of the World. And when we talk about great fighters and great talents and great potential, this man to my right is someone that I believe can go all the way in the 135-pound division and bring world championship fights back to Dublin and Ireland. And if you can turn up wearing the flat cap and the vest, you know you can really, really fight Gary Cully. Your opponent on Saturday night, Jose Felix, is someone that's going to come to win, someone that's extremely durable, Mexican warrior, someone that's going to give you guys great entertainment as well. And I'll start with you, Jose. You came up to me just outside and you apologised, and I asked you what you were apologising for, and you were apologising because you said you're going to beat Gary Cully on Saturday night.
Así es. Bueno, primero que nada, buenas tardes. Gracias por venir a toda la gente. Quiero pedirle una disculpa aquí enfrente de todos para que estén presentes y escuchen. No nada más capaz se le olvida. Que le vengo a pedir una disculpa porque le voy a quitar un invicto. Y pues a eso vengo nada más. Vengo a quitarle el invicto y perdóname. Yo sé que es tu empresa, pero yo tengo mis cosas también y tengo mis cosas por qué luchar.
He said, oh no, Paco, sorry, go on.
No, go ahead. Go ahead, Eddie. No, it's right.
He said, I'm looking unbelievable. It's a great fight. Go.
He says, first of all, I want to thank all of you, media, for coming today. And the reason that I came to Eddie, I wanted to apologize. I came to him and I said, Eddie, I would like to apologize to you. So Eddie says, well, why? How come? He says, because I'm going to take the all from Gary Cully on Saturday.
Jose, we've seen so many great Mexican fighters come here. This guy has been walking through everybody. This guy has been knocking everybody out. Not you on Saturday. You're ready for war in Dublin.
Dice que todos, como tú ya has visto, todos los oponentes de él le han puesto diferentes tipos de oponentes y ha noqueado a casi a todos. ¿Qué quiere decir el sábado para ti, este sábado?
Sí, es un peleador que le tengo mucho respeto, gran boxeador, tiene las manos muy pesadas, se supone en el récord lo dice, como los noquea a todos, pero nunca he peleado con alguien que tenga la mochila llena de trucos. Yo soy un boxeador mexicano, que soy un guerrero, ellos me conocen, ya me vieron en el 2021 con McKenna, su amigo de gimnasio, porque entrenan juntos todo. Yo creo que McKenna ya le dijo la fuerte pegada que tengo, lo tumbé, no pude terminarlo por cuestiones de que el referee no me dejaba acercarme y de volada no me la acercaba y golpeaba más abajo, más arriba, no dejó hacer mi pelea, pero esta es mi oportunidad de venir y hacer mi travesura aquí en Irlanda, es la segunda vez, y como le digo, ya me conocen, saben que soy un guerrero, y voy a dar desde el principio al fin tirando golpes hasta que logre el objetivo que será quitarle el cero a Cully.
Over to you, Paco.
Gary Cully, a great fighter. We know he's rangy, great boxer, as you all know, heavy hand. We are aware of that. But I am a Mexican warrior. I'm going to be here. I'm pretty sure that he's the trainer of McKinnon already told him exactly how to find me because I already fought his ring, the guy that trains with him. Do you train with McKinnon?
Yeah.
Okay, so that's what he said. But you guys are gonna see a completely different Jose Felix on Saturday. I'm well prepared mentally, physically, and I'm a warrior. And either he knocks me out or I'm gonna knock him out.
Love to see it. Thank you, Jose. Gary, I'm excited. I mean, someone that we know is very tough, someone that we know that comes to fight, someone that we know is very durable as well. All the things you need in your development, but a real fight in your city on Saturday night, just a massive moment for you.
Yeah, first of all, it's just It's mad. It's special to be here. I grew up 20 minutes from here in Nice. Any big gigs, big concerts, big fights back in the Bernardone days that I came to, they were all in the Tree Arena, they were all in Dublin, and I've dreamt of this moment ever since then. And to share a card with this young Irish talent coming through, myself, Thomas, Keevan shared youth teams coming through the amateur ranks together, Paddy a little bit behind us, a little bit younger, and a fellow Kildare man in Dennis as well, to be leading the charge, to be at the forefront of this new wave of Irish talent, and to bring Irish boxing back home. Obviously this is Katie's night, but I want this to be the first of many nights back in Dublin, and we're coming to bring big time boxing back to Dublin. We're the Fighting Irish, we're back in Ireland, and I'm excited to put on a show on Saturday night.
Obviously a lot of people high on your performances recently. You've had a great run under us as well, knocking people out on big shows. The development, the platform's been perfect so far. Expect a tough fight on Saturday. We know, I said yesterday about I expect this guy to give you rounds. You didn't really like that when I said it, but he is durable, he is tough, and I guess got not to be too over keen in this fight. I know you want to make a statement, but as well, tough opposition for you this time around.
Yeah, for sure. Jose Felix is no mug. Like he said, Mexican warrior. We're the Fighting Irish. I wanted somebody who was going to come to fight, who's going to excite the fans. I've got a fan-friendly style. He's got a fan-friendly style. 30 KO wins in 39 wins. So he's going to come to fight. He's, like he said, he's a Mexican warrior, and I believe our two styles are going to gel well, and it's going to be a very, very entertaining fight.
And finally, you said a great story last night about yourself, obviously being from this city, chasing big dreams, but also your neighbour as well. A special ring walk for you on Saturday night that I'd like you just to tell about. That story you told last night, because I think it's influential for young kids chasing a dream that they can come true.
Yeah, shout out to Dan McCabe. We grew up in an estate called Sarto. I was number 81, he was 75, and we grew up together. We were in primary school together, secondary school together, and we had this dream growing up through the years of he was going to go and do his thing in the music industry. I was going to do my thing in boxing, and I'd come home to Dublin, I'd have a big fight, and he'd sing me to the ring. So he's going to be doing a live ring walk on Saturday night, and it's going to be special for us both, for my friends, for my family, for everybody who grew up with us, for the community back in the estate as well. So it's a cool moment for us, and I'm just looking forward to taking it all in, soaking in the atmosphere, and enjoying these fans on Saturday night.
Well, tremendous story. Dreams do come true. Lovely story, but make no mistake, this is a bad man that's ready to go and try and take the 135 division by storm. A young Irish fighter that you can really get behind, not just on Saturday night, but through his career, as we have so many young talent here in Dublin, in Ireland, that you can support as well. A fantastic undercard on what is a historic night on Saturday at the 3 Arena, live and exclusive on DAZN. We're going to pause now for head-to-heads with everyone up here, and then we'll be back shortly for the main event. Thank you.
So there we have it, our undercard for Saturday night in Dublin live or on DAZN. A different sort of energy up there. It feels like a lot of young fighters who've been waiting years in some cases for an opportunity like this to fight in a home crowd on what feels like a historic night, because it is a historic night.
I think Gary Cully summed it up perfectly there. Explaining this is where he came to watch big events, whether it be concerts, his favourite bands, and fights when Bernard Dunn was fighting. Now he's got the opportunity to go to the 3 Arena himself and fight along with these other guys on the card. It's a great opportunity for him. It's a new wave, if you like, as they've been saying, and tremendous opportunity. This is what they've been dreaming of, and they've got to be so thankful for what Katie Taylor's done. It's incredible. She's, really, really elevated Irish boxing to another level, and, these are riding the crest of the wave, and they've got an opportunity to sort of follow in her footsteps to some degree.
Yeah, February 2016 it was when she beat Queen Underwood one of her last contests in the amateurs. That's a long time to have not boxed at home. She's boxed all over the world and had fans. Obviously, New York has been a home away from home. We know about the big Irish contingent in there and around the coast of the US. But this will feel something very, very different for her at a stage of her career where time's now not on her side. Every fight has to be big, it has to be meaningful. She's obviously trying to tick off the mandatories in between these big fights, but from here on in, as she goes from sort of 37, 38, she has to now tick off all the boxes she wants to, so that she has no more regrets as a fighter.
Look, the ambition has to be high, and I don't think it gets much greater than this contest. It is huge, in my opinion.
I'll tell you what, one young lady, this young lady, Maisie Rose, dealt with an inordinate amount of pressure. Somebody she looked up to as a youngster. I think she would have been 10 or 11 when Katie won Olympic gold in London, and to be the live float on your pro debut, you're sort of running the risk of sometimes not getting on or getting on at an odd time of night. She ended up being chief support, getting called up at less than 10 minutes notice to one of her idols in front of, what, 7,000 or 8,000 at Wembley Arena. And I think a lot of people were kind of going, who's this? And you know what? They found out in the 4 rounds that she was active that she can really, really fight. Exciting, obviously trained by a good friend of yours, Kev Mitchell, in Tony Sims' gym too. But that experience for her would have been invaluable, because everything from then just doesn't seem like fresh.
Exactly. And who would have thought? She certainly wouldn't have thought she would get called out in her first fight. You know, and I think she's glad she has been, because now she's on another Katie Taylor card. Her idol, her inspiration. She's where she wants to be. She's a workhorse, Maisie Rose. She really wants it. She's a boxing mad, and so is this young man. Paddy Donovan, I've heard a lot of good things about Paddy. I've seen him, obviously. He's a very good fighter. Spoke very well, I felt, up on that stage. Really fancies himself as a fighter, and you need that kind of arrogance, if you like, to get to the top.
And you know what? It's a little bit of stars aligning for these two as well, isn't it, in terms of the matchmaking, because this wasn't on the cards a couple of weeks ago, but for both of them, I think it actually has worked very well.
I think so, yeah. The fight lined up, Sam Mason in Scotland. I think he said there in a couple of weeks' time that fell through. I think it's almost like a matchmaker's dream.
Yeah. And Donovan was out pretty recently too, so he's clearly been active, and probably, I think, fighters of his nature looking at a card like this will have kept fit just on the off chance, because you don't want to get the call and find that you haven't kept ready, because you assume that you wouldn't be on it. And of course, both of them are. Sam Mason, of course, was in with Dalton Smith last year, challenging for the British title at 140 pounds, a little out of his depth, and Smith kind of broke him down pretty conclusively. But a good test for Donovan at this stage of his career, 10-0, 7 knockouts, Irish southpaw, from the same part of town as Andy Lee, who's his trainer as well. And there's 2 big men who'll be doing battle for, I think, is the inaugural Boxing Union of Ireland Celtic heavyweight title. This big Thomas Carty, 5-0. This week is the 2-year anniversary of his turning pro, and well, Big Jay McFarlane has been a bit of a revelation. He's admittedly not taken the sport quite as seriously as he should have in years gone by, but the last year or so he's become a bit of a fan favourite. Had that absolute ding-dong with Nick Campbell, blood and guts war last year, and then gave a really good account of himself, taking a reasonably short notice scrap with Guido Vianello, the Olympian Italian, of course, who had a lot of experience at the top level of amateur boxing. Went to Italy for Guido's homecoming and went the full 8 rounds with him. Had a few moments as well, showed really good resistance, and I think feels mentally and physically like he's in the best shape of his life. He's going to need to be against Thomas Carty.
I think it's more the physical side of things. He says he's fit this time. He's fit to go to war. He can let his hands go. He's not going to be worried about the distance. He can get in there, try and draw Carty into his kind of fight, which is a dogfight.
Starts at 5 o'clock on Saturday afternoon. For those of you coming to the venue, Maisie Rose will be up against Kate Radonska first up, and Paddy Donovan, of course, and Sam Mason. And then I think the 2 have flipped rounds. So Thomas Carty and Jay McFarlane will be the last on before the bell, and these 2 will be opening the show live on DAZN at 7 o'clock. Former sparring partners, Kevin Ajako used Grant Dennis for his preparations for Jez Smith a few years back, and they both went out to Fuerteventura for Billy Joe Saunders' preparations for Canelo Alvarez a couple of years ago. And you heard the story. Kevin did mention that to me on the phone when I spoke to him, but I didn't know whether that would come out. I think he fractured Grant Dennis's eye socket, or certainly caused some damage to his orbital bone in one of those spars. And of course, you heard them going back and forth. I think deep down there's plenty of respect between them. They know each other well, and I guess that means that they'll probably get straight to work on Saturday.
I think so. I don't think he was hiding behind his word there, Grant Dennis. I think he really does fancy the job. I think he believes they were competitive, but like you say there, a lot of respect. They've shared, tons of rounds with each other.
He gave Danny Dignam a really good fight.
He did. Dennis. He did. It was just at that 6th round, the pressure got on him, and Danny started to close the gap a little bit, but it was an entertaining fight. It was a competitive fight, and I've no doubt that he's going to leave it all in the ring on Saturday night.
Well, and speaking of men that do exactly that, on the right is JJ Metcalf, on the left is Dennis Hogan, who has acquitted himself so well against some of the very best in the division. And I mentioned to you yesterday, I actually missed the Munguia fight when it happened, saw the result and assumed that Munguia had done enough for the victory. And actually looking back at it, Hogan, I don't want to say robbery because that's an overused word, but he certainly should have got the decision, and that should be the blemish on Munguia's record. He was well beaten by Charlo and Tim Tszyu, but again, we saw lots about him in those fights, how he handles being hurt. JJ Metcalf was in probably fight of one of the fights of the year against Ted Cheeseman, probably the best British light middleweight fight we've seen since Moore and Macklin in 2006. But he has levelled up under Joe McNally and Declan O'Rourke, the best version of himself.
Without a shadow of doubt, and that one, I've no doubt. It could play out a few different ways, but it's going to be a cracker, as will this one.
Well, Terry Harper there, just looking lean and strong as ever. You'd never know she jumps up 3 weight divisions in the best part of 20 pounds. Just a year or so ago after, I think looking back, it really is quite clear how weight drained and struggling she was at 130 pounds and up against a very good and at that time underrated fighter in Alicia Baumgartner. And of course she was stopped on her feet in dramatic fashion. Psychologically, not an easy one to recover from that. She's done very well in the last couple of fights to put herself in a good position.
I have no idea how she done that weight. When you see her stood up there next to Bracker, so that's incredible. It really is, but I'm glad she's at a comfortable weight now. She's a very good fighter, Terry Harper.
Yeah, Celia Brækhus was a long reigning champion herself, the pound for pound #1 for many years. Of course, lost her belts to Jessica McCaskill, and she's looking to regain a world title. And this man said he's going to come and spoil the party. Jose Felix has faced a couple of decent southpaws in Tyrone McKenna, who he knocked down at Falls Park not so long ago. He was outboxed and outthought by the very talented Sandor Martin, another southpaw too. Gary Cully is somewhere in between the two of them in terms of the technical ability. He's a very tricky fighter, super quick, rangy, very sharp hitting. And this man, though, he's a handful. He looks well, and I think it's a really good fight.
Can he get close to Cully? That is the issue. You know, I commentated on the Sandor Martin fight, and he was just scratching his head. He had no answer for the movement of Martin. Cully doesn't move as much. He's very nimble, but he takes the space away, and he'll fire over the top of that lovely left hand. I think if he was to stop Felix early, like he has the last few of his opponents, it's a very good win. He can't switch off though. He has to stay switched on. I think over 30 KOs on the record for Felix. He's a danger man. If you let him plant his feet and let his shots go, you've got to be smart. You've got to pick your moments. You've got to feint, draw out the lead. But it's a fight in which I think Gary Cully wins comfortably.
Okay, very interesting. It will be a good win. And we will be speaking to Eddie Hearn shortly. I think he's probably quite a busy man, but he's going to come and chat to us because we've got about another 6 or 7 minutes, I think, until we hear from our main eventers, Chantelle Cameron and Katie Taylor. But I think for Eddie Hearn, the path he's now got a map for Cully. I was just looking at the Ring magazine ratings, and we'll chat to him about this in a moment. There are no easy routes when you look at those contenders. I mean, Maxie Hughes is in at 9. We know what a kind of Indian summer he's having, but you've got guys like Isaac Cruz and Frank Martin, even before you get to the likes of, obviously, Devin Haney, Lomachenko, Tank Davis, Shakur Stevenson, who's now there as well. I mean, it is a nightmare of a division, a proper sort of minefield of fighters. He's going to have to be very good if he's going to get in contention, isn't he?
Yeah, he will. You're always improving in this game, but you'll always give him a chance, even with those guys, because of that
style.
power.
And I think the style too.
Style. I mean, he's a nightmare for anyone. You know, that range, that height, that movement,
if
that
he didn't
power.
have the power, you'd have to say it's probably not going to happen, but he does.
Yeah,
but
he does. And there's a lot of advantages he has on his side. You know, I've spoken about this before. There are some weaknesses. He can come tall. The chin does come high. You know, I can't always talk about the pluses all the time. There are things to work on, but what he does very well. The way he takes the space away from opponents, he fires that left hand with such accuracy, speed, and the power that he generates is incredible. I'm a big fan of Gary Cully. I mean, outside of the ring, if you have, you know, we've spent a lot of time with him. He's a lovely bloke. He's very welcoming. You know, he'll talk to you, spend time with you. He's a good bloke. He really is, and he talks very well, very respectful. He understands what this means, not just for his career, but for everyone else's career, and he's thankful for what Katie Taylor's done for Irish boxing.
Yeah, done a lot for Irish boxing, and plenty of Ireland's finest young prospects and contenders on the bill Saturday night in Dublin, live on DAZN, and it all builds towards a big main event. Katie Taylor returning home for the first time in over 7 years to challenge for the undisputed super lightweight titles against the champion Chantelle Cameron.
But that was on American soil. It's only right to run it back again, don't you think? Don't you think?
The rematch between Katie Taylor and Amanda Serrano is
officially
off.
As the weeks have unfolded, she's just not going to be ready.
Katie Taylor not fighting and that fight card not happening, we have a problem.
Katie Taylor on her social media.
It's coming from Katie, so there's no excuses can be made now.
And I always said that when Chantelle Cameron racked up the belts, she would be the front runner.
Undisputed champion versus undisputed champion. Both undisputed, both undefeated. No brainer.
Katie's like, no, we'll dance at 140.
That is a tougher fight than Amanda Serrano for Katie Taylor.
I love it. Sensational.
For the first time in a four-belt era, two reigning undisputed champions will face off against each other.
The Queen of Ireland, she's coming home.
Well, that's not a bad way to reschedule a fight falling through from Women's Fight of the Year. When you think it can't be done, the women stepped up to the plate and did it, and credit to the pair of them. And of course, we spoke to Katie, who echoed those words. Of course, it's a fight that Chantelle wanted more than anything, and cemented her place in the history books, becoming undisputed against Jess McCaskill, a former opponent of Katie Taylor's last November, I think it was, out in Abu Dhabi. Good performance from her, but this is a different level to anything she's faced as champion.
Yeah, I'll ask you, do you think this is a bigger fight?
I think it's very similar. I think the significance for Ireland, of course, and for Katie Taylor, it's a bigger fight. I think, look, it's hard to top what they did last year in New York. It was Women's Fight of the Year, one of the greatest fights we'll ever see in the women's division. I said to you the other day, I watched it back just for a laugh. And when you watch boxing for a living, you don't watch stuff back unless you really, really enjoy it, right? Because we watch a lot. And I thought, I've got to put that on again just to remind myself of just how great it was. The resilience both of them showed. I think Serrano very nearly got the job done. I think there were moments in that fight where people suddenly thought, this is going to be it, this is when the reign ends. And all of a sudden, the recovery and the resilience and the way Taylor came back swung the momentum. Serrano suddenly left the tank empty, and then Taylor just crept back into the fight, and I think just was right to get the decision.
It was incredible.
It was incredible.
But I would say for Katie Taylor, this is a bigger fight.
Yeah.
Because
there's more to achieve.
There is more to achieve, and I just feel this. I think this is the correct fight for the homecoming. If I'm honest, don't get me wrong. I think the Serrano fight at Croke Park, if she was to get through this, would be the obvious choice.
Yeah, this adds more jeopardy for her, doesn't it? Because
absolutely,
she's got more to gain now from this. Because she's defended her titles how many times? 14 world title defences, not obviously all undisputed, but she's defended against the best opposition she could possibly face. Avenged what some people saw as a defeat to Pursoon. It was very, very close. Pursoon certainly could have got the nod, but she came back and showed what she's made of. She's never ducked a challenge, and this is one that she called for and she got, and if she wins, then there's no argument she's the pound-for-pound #1, regardless of how much Clarissa Shields has done, and she is brilliant too, but there's no comparison between the quality of the opposition they've both faced and the time they've done it. Not Shields' fault, by the way. You can only beat who's in the division. But Taylor, at this point, you go, well, how many more people can she beat at the elite level? She's just done it all, isn't she?
I feel, when I look at this fight as well, a fast start is crucial. Is crucial. Look, we know how quickly these 10 2-minute rounds go by, but you don't want to get to the fourth round and then get going. I think it's so important for either girl to grab this fight by the scruff of the neck and start strong and bring that momentum through to the end of the fight. We know Katie finishes fights so well, but she doesn't want to be playing catch up. I think it's so important that she starts fight, and I think for Chantelle Cameron, she's got to try and silence the crowd. I think these feet are so important, the jab's so important to try and get some momentum early for herself.
All right, well, it's a brilliant fight on Saturday night from Dublin on DAZN. The schedule continues around the world as well. Take a look at what's coming up on the platform over the next few weeks.
And now entering the arena. What a sensational finish.
The legacy, achieved my dream.
Tijuana, Mexico, Jaime Munguia.
Prograde probably well in his prime now.
Jason Quigley.
Quigley attacking.
So Nate Diaz, fight me. Think you're the top? Creme de la creme right here. I'm coming for you.
Some schedule that, isn't it? Lara Wood too next weekend in Manchester. Let's have a quick word on that, because we were sat there sort of up to the start around 7 thinking Lee Wood's going to do this, you know, and he looked like he was hurting Lara.
I was convinced.
Yeah.
He looked like he was wilting, Lara. I was convinced he was finished.
Hurt to the body bad.
I was convinced that was it. I thought, you know, they may even pull him out. He looked exhausted to me. And out of nowhere, that thunderous shot ends the show. It was so dramatic. Like, I'm getting goosebumps thinking about it. Like, it's going to be incredible. He'll be so nervous, Lee Wood, going into that fight, knowing that if he switches off for a split second, that could happen again. But the blueprint is there. Yeah. It was there early. If he can stay disciplined, stay switched on, listen to Ben Ben Davison in the corner in the minute to get him back switched on.
Well, they knew straight away. I saw them all the morning after, and obviously was gutted. Yeah. But they knew straight away the mistake that they'd made. He knew what he'd done, and he just said, "I know I can beat this guy."
There was no doubt, was there, about activating the rematch?
And we know too, and we'll ask Eddie the question. But he said, "Look," he said, "I wanted him to maybe have one other opponent before," and they flirted with the idea of putting Josh Warrington back in with Lara because they have unfinished business, of course. But Wood said, "No, I need this one next. I want it next. I have to get the world title back." And credit to them, they'll do battle in Manchester 27th of May next weekend. Shields, Gabriel's 2, Edwards and Campos, of course. Wembley 10th of June. Mingeir and Derevenchenko coming up shortly. Prograis, Paro, Regis Prograis, of course, one of Matchroom's latest signings, along with Andy Cruz last week. Belanga and Quigley, who's here, of course, with Andy Lee and the team as well, who will travel to New York to face Belanga. Josh Kelly and Corzo fighting. I think you're on the commentary desk for that.
Yes.
One of the Channel 5 DAZN link-ups through Wasserman, and then Jake Paul and Nate Diaz, one of the crossover fights. And
that would be exciting.
It would be a really good fight. Yeah, I don't watch a lot of those. I will be watching that one. I can tell you that, and the build-up will be fantastic. So lots to look forward to on DAZN over the next few weeks. But right here, we are just awaiting the arrival of 2 undisputed women's world champions that are going to be doing battle for the first time in boxing history on Saturday night. And I don't know whether we can get a shot of that desk that they've been setting up. I mean, you can see it behind us here. There's more belts than a TK Maxx in Croydon.
It's the best top table I've seen.
That's incredible, isn't it?
That is nuts.
That's a lot of achievements there. You can see 2 Ring Magazine belts, the proper 12, because we know who's involved in the sponsorship and the build-up, the WBC titles there. And you see Ross Enoway, he'll be speaking. Doesn't do a great deal of media, but what a job he's done with Katie Taylor over the last few years as a professional. He could be crucial in her corner. For Jamie Moore and Nigel Travis, do you think there's a chance we might see them set Chantelle Cameron up a little bit like Catterall did against Taylor, trying to just draw the distance out, 100%. Counter her and step around her? Because she's used the ring a lot more since she's been with those two.
Yeah, I think they'll try and walk Katie onto the shots. We know what this means to Katie, but we also know how important this is to Chantelle Cameron. This is the fight she's wanted. I remember speaking to Chantelle Cameron in Abu Dhabi before, I think it was before the media workout over in Dubai, and she was saying back then that it was the fight that she eventually wanted, was the Katie Taylor fight. I don't think she expected it to come quite as soon, but I think they'll try and walk Katie onto the shots, knowing that Katie's really going to want to impress the home adoring crowd. And I think it's about being smart, little step back, bang, bang. But Katie Taylor's going to be sort of firing on a different kind of cylinder. Yeah. You know, this is a challenge for her that she needs. This is what she's been waiting for since, you know, I mean, the whole pro career. It's...
You know what, she did that. I think it was against, it was either Pursoon or it was, I think it was Delphine Pursoon, when she was under a little bit of pressure and Pursoon was gathering some momentum. She just leant back on the ropes and she said, bring it, come and step to me and have a fight. And I think, look, Chantelle Cameron, she's not an out-and-out pressure fighter. She boxes and moves and picks her spots in which to work. But the times where we've seen Katie Taylor closest to being beaten is when she's been under relentless pressure, as she was against Bassoon and against Serrano, particularly in the first half of the fight. It's hard to imagine anybody that can bring more pressure than they brought. But also, outboxing Taylor. It's going to have to be the performance of a lifetime against Cameron. But as you know, when you've had significant world title fights against the best on the planet, you raise your game to another level. So we can expect, we know what to expect from Taylor. We've seen the best of her. But from Cameron, we can expect her to put in probably a career best.
I don't think we've seen the best of Cameron. I don't think we have. And if she doesn't bring her A game, an A game that I don't think we've seen yet, she's going to struggle in this fight. If she brings it, I'm telling you, it is a real 50-50. There's so many ways for me. You know, they could mix fire, with so much on the line with the crowd. You know, Chantelle Cameron may have this game plan along with Jamie to move and get behind the jab, but she may want to silence the crowd in a different way, get stuck in, you know, try and outwork Taylor. If that is the case, it could match Taylor Serrano for, you know, fight of the year, women's fight of the year. I mean, it could be that good. With what's on stake, you see on the top table there, it's that important. It doesn't get much bigger. It's huge.
OK, lots to talk about still. We're just waiting for the arrival. The press conference is due to start at 2 o'clock. It is 2 o'clock, so we are starting imminently. So don't go anywhere. You just saw the schedule of boxing on DAZN over the next few weeks, but that is not all that we've got in store for you. Take a look at this.
We are on the precipice of something truly spectacular.
Sunday, May 28th.
There are a handful of young men who have been here since the beginning. 4 men to be exact. 4 pillars.
The 4 pillars of AEW will collide.
This entire place revolves around you.
For the richest prize in professional wrestling.
I got me here, and I'll get me there. I should be world champion.
Live from the fight capital of the world, AEW presents Double or Nothing.
We are into the final, and that's amazing.
And yet another European final awaits.
Barcelona have the breakthrough.
Wolfsburg have made Arsenal pay.
This is one game. I think anything can happen.
Eindhoven, here they come.
Women's Champions League football and AEW wrestling, they've made some waves in the wrestling world. I grew up as a massive wrestling
so did
fan.
I. Who's your favourite?
The Rock, I think. The Rock and Stone Cold's rivalry, I think probably the best thing I've ever seen. But yeah, so that's all on platform as well. I was looking back to one of my first jobs in boxing. I got a job presenting the 2012 boxing, which is obviously a dream as a young fight fan. I can't remember any atmosphere that sticks with me as much, other than Joshua Klitschko at Wembley Stadium, which is, 90,000 people, in one of the most dramatic sort of crescendos to a fight, where there was huge jeopardy in probably the world's sort of 1 or 2 biggest stars at the time, in Anthony Joshua, certainly rising stars. But apart from that, Taylor's Olympic final in London against Sofia Ochigeva, when she ring walked and when that first bell went, and when she was announced as Olympic champion, was you never forget things like that. This is the kind of atmosphere and environment with the jeopardy that's on the line that could match that sort of atmosphere.
I mean, surely. I mean, if this doesn't, what does? I mean, this is the homecoming. This is their Olympic champion. This is their undisputed world champion. This is her challenging for more honours. You know, if your adoring crowd don't get behind you in full voice for a moment like this, then when do they? This is it. The roof is going to come off of that arena. I've absolutely no doubt about it.
Yeah. So lots to look forward to for those of you who are just joining us for the main event press conference. Lads in the gallery, I don't know if we can just have a look at the fight graphic, if you can grab that for us, because we've got 8 big fights for you on the bill. Just a reminder for those of you that are coming to the arena in Dublin, the 3 Arena, it all starts at 5 o'clock when the doors open. Maisie Rose will be in against Kate Radomska. First on before the bell, Paddy Donovan will be in action against Sam Mason, and Thomas Carty and Jane McFarlane will be contesting the BUI Celtic heavyweight title. And then things will be kicking off on DAZN at 7 o'clock. And yeah, just to kind of clarify that that is slightly wrong, because Kevin Ajako and Grant Dennis will be opening proceedings at 7 o'clock. So that'll be the first fight on the For those of you watching on DAZN at home, he's in against the Scot Jamie McFarlane, who gave a really good account of himself against Guido Vianello last time out. Those two will do battle over 8 rounds. Dennis Hogan, who has acquitted himself so brilliantly against some of the division's best, and including Jaime Munguia, Jamal Charlo, and Tim Tszyu, is in against JJ Metcalf, who's had some career resurgence under Joe McNally and Declan O'Rourke up in Liverpool. They will do battle over 12 rounds. Significant fight for both of them. Terry Harper, what a turnaround she's had in her career over the last 12 months or so, jumping 3 divisions and nearly 20 pounds to take the WBA World Super Welterweight title off Hannah Rankin in a really good fight. She defends against one of the greatest females in boxing history, a long reigning champion from 2009 all the way through to about 2017, and was undisputed at a time too. Lost her titles to Jess McCaskill. We thought maybe she'd be turning it in, but she's back for one more go at glory. Cecilia Breakers against Terry Harper for the WBA World Super Welterweight title, and a lightweight contest for one of the rising stars in the 135-pound division in Gary Cully, who has dispatched 2 opponents that was supposed to be a tough test for him, but Jose Felix, who had a big moment against Tyrone McKenna, knocking him down at Falls Park, was in against another really good southpaw in Sandor Martin as well. They will do battle at lightweight, and if Cully gets through it, he will push on up the incredibly difficult and slippery slope that is the 135-pound division. We spoke to him yesterday. He said he will have an eye on Vasily Lomachenko's challenge for the undisputed crown against Devin Haney in the early hours on a top-ranked show stateside. And then it's the big one, Katie Taylor on the left of your screen, but she isn't the champion on Saturday night. She walks as challenger. 140-pound division beckons. She has won a world title there before, of course, but this a different kettle of fish entirely. Chantelle Cameron in the prime of her life after securing the titles against Jess McCaskill in Abu Dhabi, defends her belts in Dublin for Taylor's homecoming in Ireland, live on DAZN. Well, if that isn't enough to get you excited, I don't know what is, folks. I think you need to turn it in and go home. But what a fight we have in prospect. And it's going to be surreal. I think Taylor walking as champion. Yeah. Do you know, when we asked Eddie yesterday, I couldn't work out whether he said Taylor was walking last or first. But I think from his words, I think she's going to walk first. But yeah, I mean, it's going to be quite surreal.
I think that's right as well. You know, you're the champion, Chantelle Cameron. She deserves to walk second, regardless of where the fight is and what it means to Ireland and Katie Taylor. The right thing is that the champion walks second. Yeah, I mean, it's got all the ingredients, everything's there. I mean, kind of the talking's all done now. We're just all desperate for Saturday. I mean, there's the legend there. I mean, it's just remarkable how much desire and fire is still left with what she's achieved. I'm in awe of everything.
Saw Sandy Ryan become world champion for the first time at 147 pounds, beating Marie-Pierre Hall in Cardiff on Joe Cordina's undercard. Eddie said there was a path mapped out and an agreement in place for her to face Jess McCaskill for the undisputed titles at 147. I know the IBF is vacant, so we'll have news on that. But there is a chance, isn't there, that if Taylor were to get through this fight on Saturday in good fashion, of course the Serrano rematch is there, of course everybody wants to see it, but if Sandy Ryan were to have cleaned up at least 3 of the 4 belts in that division, we could even see her, for legacy purposes, head to 147.
With how easy this fight was made, I wouldn't be surprised with any kind
Sandy
of fight.
Ryan will take it.
Without a shadow of a doubt. Without a shadow. Look, I mean, Katie Taylor has had a target on her back since the moment she turned pro. Everybody wants to fight
It's just
her.
the money fight in the women's
It's the
division.
money fight. She's the biggest fight. She's the legend in the female game. Every single up-and-coming female, whether you're established or you're new to the pro ranks, you want to fight Katie. You want Katie to hang around as long as possible. They all want to get in the ring with her, and I can understand why. The occasions, the fight weeks, and the shows themselves are special.
Chantelle Cameron, 17-0, with 8 coming by way of knockout. We've seen more of a boxer and a mover since she's joined Nigel Travis and Jamie Moore. She's just making Katie Taylor wait a little bit here. There's plenty of respect between the two of them in the build-up, but the tension, the atmosphere just starting to change a little bit. You always hear the hush before we hear from the fighters at the top table. Eddie Hearn is there with, is that Brian Peters?
Brian Peters, playing golf with him some Saturday morning.
Top man Brian Peters and Ross Eneme, who's done wonders for Taylor since she's been away stateside, and I mean, never looks phased, never looks stressed, always the same before and after the fight. But there is that sort of quiet steel about her on fight night as you near fight night, and yeah, the atmosphere around her ring walks is something quite special. And there is the reigning, defending, undisputed super lightweight champion of the world, Chantelle Cameron. I think probably a slightly easier scrap than maybe she'd expected against Jess McCaskill, who stylistically, not great preparation for Katie Taylor, an out-and-out brawler, technically quite a messy fighter at times, and shots come from odd angles in ways you don't see. But Cameron kind of found a solution to it pretty early, stuck to her boxing, got the job done without too much fuss.
Yeah, I mean, having said that, I think maybe the footwork that she used in that fight may be very important in this fight against Katie Taylor, taking the space away, like I say, trying to walk her onto shots. But yeah, completely different stylistically, and I guess as well, I mean, this is her biggest fight for sure.
Jamie Moore and Nigel Travis, they will certainly feel aggrieved they haven't got all 8 belts in the men's and the women's division at 140 pounds of what happened with Jack Catterall and Josh Taylor last year, but they've certainly got a huge fight for their young charge, who they care a great deal about, and a thriving gym for them as well. Chantelle Cameron defends the undisputed super lightweight world titles on Saturday night in Dublin against the greatest female fighter of all time, Katie Taylor, and I think we're now standing by, ready to go. Let's hand you over to Eddie Hearn.
Well, thank you, Chris and Darren, and thank you, everyone, for your patience and a huge turnout here, media presence, as we approach, in my opinion, one of the biggest moments in the history of Irish boxing, one of the biggest moments in the history of Irish sport. On Saturday night, the 3 Arena, Katie Taylor challenges Chantelle Cameron for the undisputed super lightweight championship of the world. Katie Taylor, former Olympic champion, former 5-time world amateur champion, 6-time European champion, world champion, undisputed champion, 2-division world champion, will fight in Dublin for the first time as she looks to make history and become a 2-division undisputed world champion. Chantelle Cameron, the reigning 140-pound undisputed champion, will be looking for one of the greatest victories from an English-British fighter in the history of our sport as well, as she looks to create her own legacy as a great among women's and men's boxing worldwide. This is a tremendous fight, and I think we should also pay homage to both fighters for accepting this challenge. It's so refreshing to see world champions, undisputed champions, willing to fight the very, very best. We don't see it enough in boxing. When was the last time you would get a reigning, undisputed lightweight world champion that was scheduled to fight a reigning, undisputed featherweight world champion, with that fighter pulling out, and within 24 hours, the undisputed super lightweight world champion was in the fight? This is exactly what boxing needs, and this fight will be epic on Saturday night in front of a sold-out 3 Arena, the biggest gate in the history of the 3 Arena on Saturday, live and exclusive on DAZN around the world. And when we talk about the platform, the schedule, a huge moment for DAZN, coming off the back of some incredible events. Ryan Garcia against Gervonta Davis, Canelo Alvarez against John Ryder, the return of Anthony Joshua, of course, this weekend, KSI last weekend, going into Lee Wood against Maurizio Lara next weekend. And Alfie, welcome. Another huge moment for DAZN on Saturday night as the schedule just keeps getting better and better.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks, Eddie, and thanks everyone for coming out today and joining us in this beautiful location in the heart of Dublin. I just want to say on behalf of myself and everyone at DAZN how proud we are to be involved in such a historic event, and what a fight we have on Saturday, as Eddie said. 2 undisputed champions going head-to-head in Dublin. Katie going up in weight against Chantelle, a formidable opponent. Lots of saying Katie's toughest test to date, and I think that's fair, and we're in for a cracker on Saturday. Coming off the back, as Eddie said, you know, for us at DAZN, we've had an amazing few weeks. Tank Davis versus Ryan Garcia. The same night, Joe Cordina became a 2-time world champion. Then we went to Guadalajara with Canelo Alvarez, John Ryder. Here we are now with Taylor Cameron Wood versus Lara 2 next week. Then we go into another longer period of fights with you know, Matchroom debutants and DAZN debutants, world champion Sonny Edwards, as well as Regis Prograis, and going into Claressa Shields and Edgar Berlanga, all in June alone, just further reaffirming DAZN purely does have the best schedule in boxing. On that note, I just want to thank Matchroom, Eddie, Frank, and all the team for their continued support in putting on these fights. It takes a lot of work, and we're very grateful for them to allow us to continue to provide the most value to our customers as part of their subscription. So all is left to say is to thanks to Katie, to Chantelle and their teams for making this fight happen. I, for one, can't wait. I wish them the best of luck. I'm sure they're going to put on an amazing show. Thank you to Ireland. Thank you to Dublin. It's been too long since there's been an event of this calibre here. everybody involved and watching should feel very proud. And yeah, all that's left to say is to tune in live on Saturday night, exclusively worldwide on DAZN. Thank you.
Thank you, Alfie. And yeah, quite right. Tremendous fight. I think to see all this hardware up here, I can't remember a time, I think the first time in the history of the sport, two undisputed world champions have faced off against each other, but I cannot remember 10 belts up here for one fight. Of course, the Ring Magazine Championship, the really proof that you are the #1 in your respective division, WBC, IBF, WBA and WBO as well. Belts do matter, legacy does matter, and this is a great example of that. Jamie, we'll start with you. The hard work's been done. You know, we were here in Dublin for the press conference many weeks ago. You're a great fighter. You love the sport through and through. What a night, what a fight we have on Saturday.
Certainly is. Don't think you need me to try and sell it to you, Eddie. It's a phenomenal fight. Two fighters probably at the peak of the game, willing and ready to fight each other, and basically at the drop of a hat. You know, like you said there, there wasn't that much negotiation what took place in them few days from the point where Katie put that message out on Instagram. Chantelle accepted it straight away, and that's how it should be. You know, I think a lot of other fighters across the world could take note from the way these two have dealt with the situation. And you know, I think talking about two undisputed reigning champions fighting each other, Chantelle's boxed a reigning undisputed champion 2 fights on the trot now. You know, one above and one below. So I don't think that's ever been done as well. So you know, the calibre of fighters they are willing to fight each other with such short negotiation is something to take her out to.
Chantelle's talked about the training camp for this, that she's given everything for this training camp as well. Testament obviously to the opposition that she's facing. You both know the magnitude of this task. You both truly believe you win on Saturday, but given everything in a training camp for this fight.
Of course, it's okay saying, as a fighter, I've been there myself, when you've got sort of obligations to fight or you need to keep yourself busy, you can say as much as you like, you know, I've put in 100% effort, but naturally you have an extra gear when you know you're up against it. And I've seen a difference in Chantelle this camp. She was sort of a couple of 2 or 3 weeks into a camp to box on the 1st of April anyway when this came about. So she was already sort of in training mode. And then all of a sudden, as soon as this fight came around, you've seen her go up a gear, or maybe even 2. And you know, people say all the time, this is the best training camp they've had. This truly is the best I've ever seen Chantelle, and if she's ever going to beat Katie Taylor and give herself the best opportunity, she's put herself in that situation.
People talk about this fight catching fire early on as well. Is that the plan? I mean, Chantelle also said that recently you've got her boxing more, but they want you to let her off the leash, or you're going to let her off the leash on Saturday night from the first bell, force the fight, force the pace. Going to be that kind of fight.
I think it doesn't take a rocket scientist to say that if I sent Chantelle Cameron out to try and outbox Katie Taylor, it'd be crazy tactics. You know, who in the right mind would try and go and outbox someone of Katie's calibre? It's you have to be a bit smarter than that, and you have to use your best attributes. And Chantelle's got some phenomenal attributes. It's easy saying it, and the hardest part is actually getting her into the positions to take advantage of her strengths against Katie. So that's going to be the battle early on. But I've no doubt in my mind she comes out victorious on Saturday.
And finally, you've been in some great fights yourself, great fights as a trainer as well. But on Saturday night, this historic event, the noise, the undisputed championships on the line, don't get much bigger than this.
It doesn't, and Styles, I said it when we had the press conference last time, this has the potential to be one of the greatest female fights ever. In fact, one of the best fights ever. You know, Katie Taylor's got such a big heart. You know, she's usually too good for the opposition, but when she's been put in positions where she's got to show her guts and determination, she's shown that. So I know what Chantelle's got. We all know what Katie Taylor's got, and that, as a blend, is going to be phenomenal.
Thanks, Jamie. Go to your opposing trainer, Ross. Business as usual for you. Could never get too much emotion out of you because it's just business and hard work, and same again in this camp as well. You know what you're up against. Another tough fight. Katie's done it time and time again. Should be a cracker on Saturday night.
Yeah, no, Chantelle's obviously a tremendous fighter, undefeated versus undefeated, but You know, Katie's as motivated as ever. She's always wanted this fight. I know there's people that didn't think she wanted this fight, but she's wanted it all along. So she's firing on all cylinders and she's ready to go.
Obviously, normally you're in a training camp for a fight in England or the US. This time around, have you had to sort of rein her in a little bit? I know she always gives 110%, but the excitement to perform at home, the history, the noise, everything. I know she's super calm as always, but it's pretty special.
It's great to be here. It's special, and I think it's something that maybe we'll look at afterwards, but up until we get the win, it's just business as usual. It doesn't really matter where we are. It's great to be here, but I've been saying all along, I don't care if we fight in a desert with nobody there. We're coming to get the W.
Is that the sign of Katie Taylor as a competitor? That, you know, the question could be to you, would the atmosphere overawe her? Would it inspire her on Saturday night? But like you said, I mean, the noise is going to be epic on Saturday, and it's history in the making, but for Katie Taylor, you're always going to get everything.
The noise will be epic, but she's been there before. Going back to the 2012 Olympics, we fought Serrano at Madison Square Garden. We couldn't hear the bell ring on several of the rounds. So she's been there before, but when you're in there fighting, you don't hear the noise. You tune it all out, and you just worry about what's in front of you.
Finally, to you, you know, talk of Chantelle being off the leash. Is that what you expect, an aggressive Chantelle Cameron in there on Saturday night?
I'm sure she's going to be aggressive. She's big and she's strong and she's busy, but Katie's she's sparred 15 rounds with fresh opponents coming in every few rounds. So if the plan is to wear her out, I think they're going to need to think again. She's seen everything and she's proven it time and time again. And like I said, she's firing on all cylinders. So I'm sure we'll see the best Chantelle Cameron, but you're also going to see the best Katie Taylor.
Chantelle, what a moment for you. I think you felt this moment would never come. You know, when we had our conversations, we talked about this fight happening at the right time, when you'd, I guess, earned that spot. You've earned it, you've got everything. You know, you've already achieved an incredible dream and legacy yourself by becoming undisputed champion, but it doesn't get any bigger than this. The biggest fight in the sport, the biggest moment in the sport is right in front of you on Saturday night.
Yeah, it's unbelievable to be here. Obviously, it feels like it was yesterday. I was in Abu Dhabi, thinking, wow, I'm undisputed champion, it's not going to get bigger than this. I remember saying to Jamie the next day, saying, what's next? Like, what can I achieve now? I've become undisputed. That was my dream. And fighting Katie Taylor now, that's my bigger goal. That's what I always wanted. Never thought it would happen, but for me, this fight is bigger than becoming an undisputed world champion.
It seems like even when you started your career, there was talk, when people started recognising you and you were winning championship fights on Channel 5 back then, that people are already talking about this fight as one for the future. It's obviously been in your mind for a long, long time. You've envisaged it, you've seen it, and now it finally happens on Saturday.
Yeah, I think anyone in this division or around about this division has always wanted to fight Katie Taylor because she's pound for pound best, and if you're in boxing, you want to challenge the best as well, especially if you're a champion. It's you got to set yourself them sort of goals and try to achieve your own greatness. So I've always wanted this fight. Didn't think it would happen, but I'm here now.
One thing that I've been asked this week is, you know, how difficult were the negotiations? You know, you had your number, you didn't play a great game of poker because it was so obvious how badly you wanted this fight. Your team made sure they got a great deal for you, but the ring walk, the name on the poster, you know, all those draining things that we see time and time again in boxing, the stuff that really frustrates fight fans, never on the agenda for you. And that seems to be the case, especially amongst female boxing, where you truly are chasing greatness. You have to be rewarded for that, and you have been, but at the same time, it means more than that. This moment, this opportunity, the legacy is everything.
Yeah, definitely. I think I've got so much respect for Katie Taylor as well. So when I seen that Amanda Serrano pulled out, I think Katie deserved the homecoming. What she's done for boxing, women's boxing, I wouldn't be sat where I am if it wasn't for Katie Taylor and Clarissa Shields. So the homecoming, I thought, yeah, just jump in and take Amanda's spot, because I think Katie deserved this homecoming in Dublin. So it was a no-brainer for me.
We saw a great moment with you and Nigel Travis in the arena. You know, goosebumps just walking around an empty arena.
Yeah.
You know, have you thought about what that moment will be like when you ring walk? I mean, this is a lovely nation. They're great people. It could be hostile. I mean, they respect their boxing and sport as well. But that moment where you walk out, about to enter the ring to fight Katie Taylor, that moment to cement yourself as one of the true greats of all time.
Yeah, it would definitely be hostile, but there's going to be tunnel vision, focus on the job at hand, and everything else go above my head. I've got one job to do, and that's to win.
Finally, you said about being let off the leash. 10 2-minute rounds, to give absolutely everything on Saturday night. You're ready to go through whatever it takes to win this fight.
Well, 100%, yeah.
Thank you, Chantelle. Katie, can't believe we're finally here. I mean, I don't want to tempt it, but we're only 2 days away now from a moment that feels like should have happened years ago. I guess it's even more special that it's never happened before. Calm as always, but pretty special. I mean, the workout yesterday, this is a moment we'll never forget.
Yeah, this is absolutely incredible. We're only 2 days away from making my homecoming fight. I think one of the things that I wanted to achieve when I first turned pro 6 years ago was to fight here at home. And this is a nation who loved their sport, they loved their boxing, and you know, for a very, very small nation, we're very good at it as well. So it's amazing to be bringing big-time boxing back to this nation again, where it belongs. And this isn't any normal fight. This is undisputed champion versus undisputed champion. This is a very, very special fight, one of the biggest fights in boxing, I believe.
You said yesterday something that really stuck with me. You said, we're bringing world championship boxing, we're bringing big-time boxing back to Ireland. You know, a lot of this build-up, not through you, but is about bringing Katie Taylor home. That's important to you, isn't it? That all these young Irish fighters get the opportunity, get the platform, and it feels like a real key moment for boxing here in Ireland.
Yeah, I think we're definitely turning a new leaf for Irish boxing. We hopefully this is the first night of many nights here at home in Ireland. And even looking at the public workout the other day, just looking at so many young fighters there, young girls who are watching the public workout. They're looking up to myself and Chantelle and all these other fighters. It's absolutely fantastic. It's great to be in a position where you're actually influencing the next generation of fighters, and they're going to grow up with big dreams, big ambitions as well, which is absolutely amazing.
That must be a great feeling, away from the fierce competitor that you are, to see those kids there yesterday. I see it in amateur clubs all over the country, young girls who have phenomenal talent as well, 11, 12-year-olds. I watch sparring in the gym.
Amazing.
You know, to have paved the way from you. And I know there's been, you know, people before you, but to really make that difference amongst all your achievements must feel like a tremendous legacy.
It really is. I think that's what legacy is all about, isn't it? You know, making a way for the next generation of fighters, and those generation of fighters are going to do even more than we've ever done. And that's what real legacy is all about, really. And when I was growing up, you know, as a 9 or 10-year-old having these big dreams, you know, I didn't have the Olympics at the time, and we had so many obstacles, so many boundaries in the way, but here we are making the path so much easier for the next generation of fighters, and it's amazing. You know, just a few hours ago, I met up again with Deirdre Gogarty, who was my hero growing up. She was the only female fighter I actually knew of at the time, and just the influence that she had on my career. It's amazing that I could be that for some young girl coming up in the sport as well.
When the Serrano fight fell through, I remember we all got on a call, which was one for the autobiography later on, the contents of that. But you did something very strange for you. You went out there and you called the fight out on social media. It's the only time you've ever done it. Is that just what this moment, this homecoming meant for you? May the 20th was locked in. You didn't want to wait. That was the moment. This was the time to make it happen, and nothing was going to stand in your way.
Yeah, absolutely. I think I've seen the fight slipping away from me. This May 20th date was slipping away, and I don't use social media much, but when I do use it, I guess I can make a big impact. And I knew that Chantelle wanted this fight as well. It was a very, very easy fight to make. The minute the tweet went out, a few days later, the fight was actually made. Yeah, there's 2 undisputed champions facing off together. This is absolutely huge for the sport, and it has all the makings of another epic fight.
Do you think, you know, I know you don't analyse your career too much, but the toughest, one of the toughest? I mean, when you look back to Serrano, of course, Bassoon as well, a lot of people saying, Chantelle, you know, good size, good engine, punches hard. This may be a tougher fight than Amanda Serrano. Most people acknowledge that as well. But to come home in the homecoming, was it important to bring that kind of fight? You know, Ariel Helwani was saying yesterday, you could have boxed anyone, but to bring this fight, this moment, was key to you, and that's the kind of nights you want.
Yeah, I think one thing that has marked my career over the years is I never picked the easy challenge. I want the biggest tests and the biggest challenges. And what's the point, really? I have a chance to become a 2-weight undisputed champion on Saturday evening in front of my home crowd. This is absolutely so special. I am expecting a tough fight, but I feel like I am ready for whatever comes my way on Saturday evening.
Sold out crowd, huge support from the country. Of course, Conor McGregor as well, flying in as well. So much support from different people, and shout out, of course, to Proper 12 and Irish Stout and all these other brands that I know are backing you as well, but amazing support.
Yeah, it's amazing to get the support of Conor and Tidal and yourself, Eddie, the whole Matchroom crew and the whole nation, obviously. I don't think there is an athlete more supported than me and my whole nation. It's so special. I think ever since my amateur days, people have backed me from this country, and yeah, we have a chance to bring big time boxing back to Ireland where it belongs, and I'm very, very excited about it.
And finally, we talked about Chantelle being off the leash. We know you have instructions. We know sometimes that goes out the window. But in that noise, in that moment on Saturday night, I guess it's a silly question. Whatever it takes to create more history and to take home all 10 of these belts on Saturday.
Absolutely, whatever it takes. And I have a chance to make history again Saturday evening, and nobody's going to take that away from me.
Thank you, Katie. Thank you, Chantelle. I'm inspired. I hope you are as well. In a pretty difficult business sometimes, this is a cleansing experience where we see what real sport is all about. Chasing greatness, chasing legacy, inspiring the next generation. And Katie, of course, and Chantelle and all these fighters deserve so much praise for changing the game, for making sure that young fighters see their heroes create chances, create opportunities, and realise their own dreams. So on Saturday night at the sold-out 3 Arena, live on DAZN, not pay-per-view, I was going to say, wow, Alfie. I mean, it should be, to be honest with you. I can't believe they're not charging you for that, but congratulations, it's part of your subscription. You will see a night you will not forget. A fantastic undercard that we saw earlier on. Paddy Donovan against Samo Mason. Maisie Rose Courtney against Kate Radomska. Jay McFarlane against Thomas Carty. Kevin Ajarko against Grant Dennis. Cecilia Brackhouse against Terry Harper. JJ Metcalf as well against Dennis Hogan in a war. Gary Cully, who I see as the future star, future world champion, against Jose Felix. And of course, an epic battle between 2 undisputed, unbeaten fighters in Katie Taylor and Chantelle Cameron. I promise you, wherever you are in the world, tune in. And if you're one of the lucky ones, lucky enough to be in the 3 Arena on Saturday night, congratulations, because you are about to witness one of the greatest atmospheres you have ever seen in the history of boxing. You will leave there with a smile on your face. Enjoy the night, enjoy these tremendous fighters, and good luck to all fighters on Saturday night. Thank you.
So there we have it. Talk me through this then. First bell goes. How does this fight play out?
2 battles for me straight away. Centre ring. Who's going to hold the centre of the ring, and who can dominate with the jab.
Because Taylor's better when she's counter-punching on the front foot, right?
Yeah,
she's not going to have the size advantage in this, but there's not going to be a massive size difference in the fight. I think people making maybe a bit too much of that. How does Chantelle Cameron best approach this? Use the outside of the ring,
well,
hold
to
centre?
be honest, I felt before that she may take the slight step back and try and walk Katie onto shots, but hearing Jamie there, I don't know if he's, you know, just saying that, you never know. Are they going to take the fight to Kate? They're going to try and get that size into the fight from the off, try and land that big right hand. She can punch extremely hard, Chantelle Cameron, so they're going to force that size into the contest early. But I think battle of centre ring, battle of jab are the 2 things that I'm going to be interested in watching from the off.
With Taylor, it's never one punch that hurts you. It's kind of death by 1,000 cuts, and they're fast, rapid-fire cuts as well. And that is what's on the line on Saturday night. The undisputed World 140-pound titles, the Ring Magazine belt there as well. Taylor, of course, hangs on to her undisputed titles at 135. If she loses on Saturday, Eddie said, would walk straight into a rematch. Imagine they have got the rematch clause in there if she is defeated. I'm not sure. We'll have to ask him about that if we get a word with him after this. For Chantelle Cameron, if she wins, I mean, it's career defining. It's one of the biggest wins in the history of women's boxing, and the world's then her oyster as well.
This is massive.
And there is a size difference, actually significant. I don't know whether it would be. It's looking at them in person, it doesn't look as significant as it does on the screen. Sometimes when you get the camera tilted just one way or one fight is just standing slightly closer, the discrepancy can be significant. They don't look massively different looking at them in person. They do on the screen there. How will that play out? I mean, Serrano was coming up from I suppose, well, originally 126 and then 130 to face Taylor at 135. She looked huge in the ring, Serrano did.
Yeah.
And of course, as we've seen, Terry Harper, who will be 3rd from the top of the bill, going up to 154 and not looking undersized whatsoever against Hannah Rankin last year. Probably won't against Cecilia Brackhouse. There is less of a variance in women's boxing and the range of sizes. You don't get the Callum Smiths or the Sebastian Fundoras and the Anthony Joshuas of the boxing world. I think Eddie is coming to join us.
Yeah.
You know well ahead of time when an event is done well because of the ticket sales. For us, it's about the atmosphere in Fight Week, the attendance of some of the events. Yesterday felt very, very special. And even in all the things that you've seen and done, it must feel for you as a promoter like you're heading towards an event of real significance on Saturday.
Do you know what? Do you know how I know? I know this is going to sound really, really cringy, but just in here, you know? Like, just the excitement, the feeling, just the feeling.
Yeah.
You know, just these weeks, they're quite draining. You know, you turn up on the Wednesday,
you do
60 interviews, you do the same interviews again the next day. Like yesterday was like 6 a.m. till 9 p.m, just like run it all day. Not even bothered. Like, give me another 7 hours yesterday. It's not a problem. Give me no sleep last night. I don't care. Because this is what you live and breathe for, you know? And this is like, and again, what I said up there, in a sport that is draining, in a sport where it is like, who goes on the poster first, who gets what changing room. I was like, it's so nice. And what it does, people always need to remember why they started fighting.
Yeah.
Now, I said to you, you know, why did you start there? What did you want when you were at Repton? I just wanted to be a great. You know, you never said, I just want to pay my mortgage off and I want to...
Be on the left side of the poster.
But that comes with it, doesn't it?
Of course it
and
does,
you've got to fight for what you deserve. But you've also, in sport and in everything, you've got to remain hungry for what originally lit the fire. And what lit the fire was to be a great and to walk in history. And that's what this fight is all about. And, you know, when I said to Chantelle Cameron, she said, look, this is the number I think is fair for that fight, right? Never. Oh, I'm defending. You know, she's challenging me. Is it Cameron? Is it Taylor? You know, what changing rooms do I get? You know, do I walk first or can I be announced at the weigh-in? Like, this is all the stuff. And you have to go through that process. But I love... Sport is so great. And when it just is stripped back bare to just competition...
Does this change your mentality a bit moving forward, trying to make fights?
But
when you've seen how easy this is?
Your hands a bit a lot of it.
Yeah, but when you know, one of the reasons that you get this happen is because women fighters don't get the opportunity, even still today, that the male fighters do. So when a massive ones arrive, generally they take it, right? But I still see a difference in the competitors. You know, and maybe it's because there aren't an overkill of lawyers and managers and agents and advisors around. And maybe the fighter has more of a say. Yeah. Who says, no, don't lose this for me, I want it. Because the fighter is always the boss. And if they want to make it happen, they'll make it happen. And Chantelle Cameron just wanted to make it happen. She wanted her opportunity. Katie Taylor just turned around and went, yep, I'll fight Chantelle Cameron. I'm thinking, you know, what I said to her there, I said, we had a conference call. Me, Katie Taylor, Ross and Brian and Frank, right? It was very heated. And it was after Serrano pulled out. And I said, listen, this is a massive fight. Like, DAZN loved the fight. You know, I don't think we should just fight anyone, because I wasn't even thinking about Chantelle Cameron, because we didn't have much time. I think we should wait for Amanda Serrano. Katie said, no way. What about Chantelle Cameron? And I was like, what, you'll fight her on May 20th? And she was like, yeah. I said, look, Serrano wants us to reschedule. And then the phone just went, and she just went on social media and said...
So this was before it went on social media, right?
She just came out and said, no, this is what I want. Okay. And she's never done that before.
She doesn't have time on her side now. That's the thing, isn't it? She's, what, nearly 37, and she's got, I guess, a couple more maybe of her prime years. Every fight now has to count and be a significant... She can't afford to sit around
and
for
she's
6 months.
seen that opportunity of fighting. I mean, we've talked about it for 3 or 4 years. Once it was close, then it wasn't close. And I think she just went, no, this is the moment. And I just, you know, it's such a great card. I mean, all those guys up there going at it and, you know... but when it means something to the fighters, you know, you really... That's when you get the best out of them. You know, a lot of shows that we do, great fights, great cards, and then sometimes you look at the undercard and you've got someone and got an opponent that, you know, he don't really... Like, it's just a brilliant mix on Saturday night.
I thought Cully spoke really well, saying about how important it is for, you know, what Katie's done for all of these and how great it is, this new breed coming through, like, and he's buzzing, he's riding the crest of the wave. You know, the main event itself, and I wouldn't say I'm pushing you for a prediction here, but have you changed who you thought was going to win?
I mean, I've always thought, even when I watched Chantelle Cameron when she was 8-0, 10-0, I always thought this is a great fight, and this is a really tough fight. I guess the key here is what happens in the first half of the fight, really. And if Chantelle Cameron can break the rhythm, if Chantelle Cameron can get Katie to engage, to hold her feet, to get carried away, then she has every chance in this fight. You know, I guess it's not rocket science, as Jamie Moore said, that Katie Taylor is going to try and outbox Chantelle Cameron. He's going to try and bank rounds and try and control the fight. Chantelle Cameron is going to have to find a way to make Katie stand and trade. And if she does that early, you know, don't forget in the Serrano fight, so many fights over the years, the Pursoon rematch, the Jonas fight, Katie won the first or most of the first 6-7 rounds, and then it was a real ding-dong war. Against Serrano, she chose really to not do that and to engage, and it was all of a sudden 3, 4, 5, those rounds were you know, arduous. Then she went back to her boxing and outboxed Serrano.
So she was badly hurt in the middle.
Yeah, but it just shows, it really, I don't think anyone, I mean, they're so placid, aren't they, Ross and Katie? But I don't believe, I think there's no way that you walk out on Saturday and just have a clear head, you know, for instructions for 10 rounds without, especially when you've got what Katie's got, which is, you know, she wants a tear up. Yeah. Ross will be saying to her, go in and out, box, 1, 2, move, you know, come off at angles. And she'll be thinking, no, because she's so stubborn. When people say, well, Chantelle Cameron is very tough, Katie goes, I'm tough. Chantelle Cameron loves a war. I'll have a war. You know, oh, you don't want to have a war with Chantelle Cameron. Why not? Crowd. Why not? Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So, you know, I think that's key there. And this, what we're seeing here, is, you know,
what she's about.
What we saw yesterday, just incredible scenes at the workout.
She didn't have this as a youngster herself. No. This is what she missed when she was growing up, isolated as one of the only female young fighters.
For young female talent. There was no trailblazer. There was no woman winning Olympics, winning world championships and stuff like that. And I see it with my own eyes. You know, when you go down to a local amateur boxing club, you know, my daughter goes to the boxing club. She wouldn't be there without Katie Taylor. She's not going to go on and be a world champion. But if she does, I hope she signs with me. But, you know, she's competing. It's improving her as a person. And I was watching the other day a girl who was, I think, 11 years old or 12 years old, sparring another girl who was 13. I've never seen anything like it. Unbelievable. You know, rolling, getting in there, trading on the inside. And I went up to the girl after and I said, you're unbelievable. She was like, oh, do you think so? She said, it's my absolute life. And I thought, wow. And I went to a silly question. I went, who's your favourite fighter? Of course. But now, everyone says Katie Taylor, but there's also another dozen fighters that young girls can say, I actually like them. And to see 7, 8, 9 girls in that gym on that night amongst another 20 boys, it's unbelievable to see, especially when you're at the heart of it, especially when she made her professional debut, everyone was laughing at us, even my old man. What are you doing? I said, no one's interested in women's boxing. I said, just watch this girl fight. And he watched the debut, and from there, he was sold. Yeah. God, she fights like a Mexican. God, you know, and it's like, she's just one of the true greats. And on Saturday, she has a 50-50 fight. She's challenging. Yeah. She's challenging the undisputed champion. It's amazing.
She'd never do it right. I mean, you wouldn't want to hear me say this, but as a fighter, there comes a stage where you've got to hang up your gloves. Mm. For me, if she was to win this, and I know she's not, what a great way to bow out of the sport.
It is difficult. Yeah, because it's like...
then she'll want to raise the bar and go bigger here.
Yeah, but you're supposed to retire when you just probably have that spar or that moment where you go, do you know what?
But what if she... But just to say, what if she doesn't fight amazing, but just nicks it? Then what? Well, then what do you say then?
But then you say she's just beaten the reigning undisputed champion at 140 pounds. And when it's your life and you love what you do, imagine saying, like, I think you should retire now. Well, I've just beat Chantelle Cameron. Yeah, but it was close. I don't care. I also beat Amanda Serrano. Like, you can't tell me to retire. Now, I had this conversation with her in Philadelphia about 3 or 4 years ago. And I said to her, well, I mean, how long have you really got left? And she looked at me like she was going to chin me.
I said the same thing.
Yeah, it was like,
what do you mean?
I was like, well, I don't know, 5 fights, 6 fights? That was 8 fights ago, or 9 fights ago, wherever it was. She's like, what are you talking about? You know, it's difficult. And you know, beyond this, if she wins on Saturday night, I mean, this fight will be so epic. Taylor Cameron 2, whatever way it goes, is a very strong possibility. Serrano 2. Alicia Baumgardner's here. She's undisputed at 130 pounds as well. But beyond that, I don't see, you know...
Is Croke Park still an option, or are they completely outpriced?
No, it's definitely an option. I mean, we've seen, you know, this gate was expensive. The tickets were expensive because we've only got 9,000 tickets. But beyond that, you know...
What do you think you could have done?
Oh, we could have done a lot. I mean, you know, if you price it right, it's 60,000 at Croke Park. You know, we saw that. I mean, tomorrow, we're allowed 500 at the weigh-in. We've had 4,000 applications for people just to attend the weigh-in.
Wow.
I mean, there's no fight there, you know, and it's just... the demand and the hype this week. And if we get a great fight, if we get a great night, that's just all I want on Saturday. I want a great fight. I want people in that arena to just leave and go, what a night. Yeah. I'll never forget that, because when people say about Joshua Klitschko, that was the greatest sporting moment I've ever witnessed. And I've had people say, I've been to Super Bowls, I've been to Ryder Cups, I've been to Wimbledon finals. And for boxing to stand on that level, and the same on Saturday, I want people to go, I'll never forget that, because that's our sport. Yeah. And we're creating moments like that, and she deserves it. And I can't wait. The atmosphere is going to be unbelievable. Yeah. I want you guys, you get headsets on just to look around and just, we need to savour these moments, and this is the purity of the sport.
Certainly we will. I'm hearing you are in demand, and your security is telling me
another
to grab you. Mate, thanks very much. We'll see you tomorrow at the weigh-in, and we'll see you tomorrow as well. Thanks for your company this afternoon. Brilliant press conference with all our undercard fighters, and of course our main eventers. 8 fights on the card Saturday, starting at 5 o'clock before the bell. Maisie Rose will be in action against Kate Radomska, Paddy Donovan against Sam O'Mason, and Thomas Carty and Jay McFarlane will be contesting the BUI Celtic heavyweight title. The show will then start at 7 o'clock. Kevin Ajako and Grant Dennis, old sparring partners, doing battle. Ajako returning to the ring for the first time in a year after injury. Dennis Hogan and JJ Metcalf, really good scrap over 12 rounds at 154 pounds. Terry Harper defends a WBA super welterweight title against one of the legends of women's boxing, Cecilia Breakers. Gary Cully and Jose Felix, another tough test for the Irishman, who wants to become a superstar in his own right, but that 135 ladder is full of mines, and it's going to be a tough fight for him as well. And that all sets the table very nicely for Katie Taylor, who will walk as challenger in Dublin for the first time in 7 years, and the first time as a professional fighter, when she challenges for the undisputed 140-pound world titles against the champion Chantelle Cameron. All live on DAZN Saturday night in Dublin. Do not miss it. Thanks from Darren and myself, Eddie, and everyone else who's joined us the last couple of days. We will see you at the weigh-in tomorrow afternoon.
When you've reached the top,
The greatest female fighter of all time, Katie Taylor.
you keep climbing. With the strength of our seas and the force of a hurricane, you represent this land. Your greatness was never in doubt.
Undisputed.
And now you prepare again for more history.
It's time to give Ireland a sporting event they will never forget.
And the toughest test of all.
This is my career and my legacy, and I'm coming to win.
As two legacies stand on the edge. Witness the homecoming. Taylor versus Cameron, May 20th, live only on DAZN.